All right, guys, welcome to the channel. Welcome back to the channel. It's Andrew Wolfe with Strategic Real Estate. Again, here with Henry Cash Russell. Yeah, and we're up in Boulder today, hanging out at Avanti. If you've watched any of our previous content, you know this is a big, big favorite of Henry's.
Yes.
And I gotta say, man, he nailed it. There's so many options, so many delicious stuff. We got here a little early, enjoyed a great cup of coffee, enjoyed a great ham and cheese pastry here. And so we're just going to talk a little bit about Boulder, right? So we're going to spend some more time up here. So today we're going to kind of post up in Avanti here, but as you engage more with the channel, you start seeing us bounce around, checking out different spots, different times of day. But if you want to have a good breakfast spot, a good cup of coffee, it's not a bad place to start, right?
Not a bad place.
Yeah.
I mean, plenty of options. You've got an upstairs, a downstairs. If you're bringing people in from out of town, great place to start off, right? Great location, right on Pearl Street. So you're going to get all the boutiques and the restaurants and the bars, but just one place, Avanti, which, you know, you asked me about this on one of our past podcasts. So if you just go back and check that out, I selected Avanti because I think it takes care of all the things you want.
It does.
Right?
Yeah.
I think it hits the food, it hits you for location, very walkable. I think the parking's not overly terrible.
Not really.
And then the other big thing, the views. I mean, I don't think you can get better views, at least not on Pearl Street, here in Boulder. And just being able to show that, I think, is huge.
100%, guys. And Henry's not wrong. It's a great place to bring people. We had, the in-laws in here last year around Christmas time, just looking for a place to hang out, right? So we brought them in here, and we're here in the summertime. It's gorgeous. They were here in December, a little bit of snow on the ground. It was beautiful. Everyone can get whatever they want to eat, pop up to the rooftop. It's a great view.
Yes.
And location-wise, it's a great way to see Boulder, see the crowd, but also just run into people because it's kind of a mecca. People come here.
I run into people all the time. All the time.
Yeah, I ran into Peter, another realtor on our team.
Yes, yes.
I ran into Peter here, I just see him because he's like 6'5" and I'm like 5'6". But yeah, I ran into him. He had to join my family for lunch, and it was a great time.
Oh, that's awesome.
You never know what you're going to meet here on Pearl Street, man. It's a ton of fun.
Well, and don't forget, you got CU right next to you.
True.
So, University of Colorado is right here. You can literally see down into the stadium from here, basically, when you're on the rooftop. And if you love sports, if you have any love of sports, you're going to get it all here, right?
Yeah.
Upstairs there's over 40 televisions on the walls, in the ceiling, everywhere you look. So if you just want to come watch a game, whether it's a Bronco game, whether it's a Rockies game, whether it's a CU game, or CSU, or Air Force, let's not leave them out. I am a veteran of the Air Force, so, go Air Force. But it's a great location to do a multitude of things at once.
Exactly. So you can't beat it, man. You got plenty of options, and I think the location is what really makes it sing, right? Like, you can walk up and down Pearl Street, tons of cool stuff to see. Easy to head down to the university, like you said, and it's gorgeous.
So the cool thing about Pearl Street also, though, obviously, like you said, the walkability. And I think that's something that when you are moving to this location, that's probably one of the things that you want to think about, right? Now, obviously, we got the trails, the walkability of Pearl Street. We have all these things like right in this little small area, and that's what makes it so great.
Yeah.
That's why, the prices are a little bit more inside of Boulder than some of the outskirts, right? So you talked a little bit about the other areas around Louisville and Longmont and
Lion
and all those, and I understand why people live there because you get a little more bang for your buck.
Sure. And we always try to frame, for this channel and just in our jobs, Henry and I, it's really about framing your decision on value, right? Because I've used this example before, if I could put you in probably any house you want to for 20% of the cost, if we were willing to go to Brighton or some of these further out, more rural parts of Colorado, and those are lovely places to live. I've got 3 listings in Brighton right now, right? But if you want to have the Boulder experience, we have to figure out how to make the value make sense for you. And maybe that means a small house. Maybe that means a townhouse or a condo. Maybe that means, hey, we pop over to Lyons, or we pop over to Longmont, or we pop over to one of these neighboring towns and find where your budget fits most closely with the lifestyle you want to live.
Right.
Because that's how I define value, is how do I make my budget justify the lifestyle I want to live, and we need to make a housing decision around that, right?
And obviously, a lot of people that move out here, they do some house hacking.
Yeah.
You buy a place with 3 bedrooms and you rent out 2 of the bedrooms and, you make yourself a little bit more affordability, right? Right now, a $600,000 condo, if you put 3% down, let's say you can get 2 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms with that, you're probably looking somewhere around $4,500 for that.
Sure.
That's all in with the HOA, and we pulled up the average of HOA in Boulder is $385. So, we put all those numbers in there just to say this: if you rent renting out one of those rooms for $1,500, $1,800, you're almost down to $2,500, to actually live here in Boulder. And I don't know about you, but that seems really affordable to me.
That's not too shabby, man.
No.
And it's also about trying to be a little more forward thinking. So I think oftentimes we make a lot of decisions, unfortunately, and housing included, when we're forced to, when our back's up against the wall, right?
Right.
But if we say hey, we're, you and I were just talking about, being parents and kind of growing up and getting older. So if we're thinking about, hey, my kid's going to go off to college this year, maybe I want to retire in a few years. I have some clients, lovely people right now that are transitioning into retirement from Seattle.
Nice.
But they met out here in Colorado. They're both buffs. They both went to CU and just kind of went out to Seattle because that's where they pay you a ton of money to be intact, right? But their kid is going to go to J school here in Colorado. So they're at CU. He's going to be a journalist. And so I was like, well, hey, why are we shelling out $3,000 a month to the University of Colorado for student housing? You guys know you want to be here. Let's go find your really awesome living situation. Let's go invest in it now, because even in the topsy-turvy economic system we're in, Boulder tends to perform really well. So let's get it for a little bit less this year than we would 4 or 5 or 6 years from now. Let's let your kiddo live there while he's going to school, and then let's rent out the other bedrooms, and maybe it comes close to paying for itself, or at least you break even relative to paying rent for your kid at CU Boulder, and then now you have your awesome retirement home out here. You pitch your place in Seattle without having to worry about living in it at the same time.
Absolutely.
And you're ready to go. So it's all about strategy, guys. And there's lots of ways to do that.
Definitely your strategy there is great, because you got to think about it. The national average for appreciation is 5%. Now in Boulder, it's going to be higher than that, but let's just use the national average at 5%. On a $600,000 property, you're looking at 5% is $30,000 a year, right? So let's say your kid goes for 4 years, right? So that's 30,000 times 4. That's $120,000, right? So by the time your kid is out of here and you decide to move in, or you just decide to rent it out, you're already $120,000 ahead. Now, if you had just paid for student housing, there'd be no $120,000 for you, right? So just in a long-term financial strategy, we just showed you how to make $120K in 4 years while allowing your child to go to school. And who doesn't want that?
No, and notwithstanding, writing off the mortgage rate, right? There's a lot of things you can do there. And now it's an investment property. So let's say you decide, hey, Boulder's not my thing. It's I don't want to live around these college kids anymore. I want to go buy in Breck or buy in Vail. Now you can 1031 exchange that house out and pay no taxes on the proceeds and go buy your retirement home or your vacation home or what have you, and that can be anywhere in the country, right? So
anyway, that's one of the big things, and we talked about this all the time, which is have a long-term plan, understand what you're looking to do. Maybe you do a 1031 exchange, and we'll pop into the thing here what a 1031 exchange is, or you can just comment below and we'll get back to you on what a 1031 exchange is. But it's just a great way for you to utilize income from one property to buy another property, right? So if you're going from Boulder and you want to go up to Breckenridge, which is one of my second favorite places, actually it's probably my favorite mountain town.
What's the argument about this one?
But Telluride, I really love Telluride also, so we'll get into that later. But utilizing this as an investment vehicle to purchase property in the mountains is such a great idea. It's such a wonderful way for you to transfer that wealth onto something else, and that's a great idea, if they could do that.
And 100%, guys. And I know that we have kind of stressed having a financial plan and having a strategy around purchasing a home. And most people, when they're having the discussion, you guys are watching us on YouTube or listening to the podcast, this is not like an investment vehicle in the traditional sense. This is probably your primary residence, right? But I do think it's important for us as professionals to help you view it as a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B, right? Because the number one, bar none, not even a close second, way that people build wealth and become millionaires or have retirement income in their life is by owning their house.
Owning their house. That's the number one way.
It's the biggest advantage. You get to live in it, right? You don't get to live in your Bitcoin,
You're paying someone either way. You're either going to pay rent or you're going to pay a mortgage, but you're paying someone every month. Why not use it as that generational vehicle?
100%. So we have to make sure we're balancing emotional and real-world utilization of living in my home and understand, okay, let's make sure we're having a strategy to make sure that our lifestyle lines up with our budget so that we're not upside down. We're never putting ourselves in danger of having to sell. We're always in a spot where, hey, we can make choices rather than being forced into situations.
Choices, and that's a big thing there because, I'll tell you a story about what we call the accidental landlords. You may have heard this story before. But in 2021 and 2022, we went through something that brought interest rates down to 2%. Now, we all remember that it was COVID and it was something that was a pandemic, and it just drove rates all the way down. So people, when they're buying houses, they said, well, I'm getting 2%. I don't ever want to sell this house now, right? So everyone that bought those houses back then, they didn't go into it thinking, I'm going to keep this house forever.
Right.
But once they got a 2% interest rate, and once they could look at cash flow from that after they rented it out, they said, well, maybe I should keep this.
Yeah.
Maybe I should keep this as cash flow. So that's why we're saying, even though this is your primary home, you don't know what's going to happen between now and then. And that home that you have as a primary might actually end up being an investment home down the line. So it's just something that we want you to think about when you're talking with Andrew, when you're talking with myself, as to, hey, column A, column B. Yeah. Maybe it's a primary, maybe we sell it, get rid of it, we move to wherever. But we may hold on to this. And let's make sure when we purchase this home, it makes sense overall.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the reasons why Boulder is one of the more safe places to kind of hedge in that situation, right? Because obviously it checks a lot of the lifestyle boxes, pretty much everyone that most folks have, right? If you are looking at it from like a long-term value increase, appreciation perspective, it outperforms even Colorado, which has traditionally outperformed the entire country.
It
right?
does,
so,
yes.
And again, you can find spots where that's not always true,
Right.
but if we're looking at like a lot of data, it's usually going to perform very well. And if you want to keep it and rent it out, or have your kiddo go to college here, or whatever the case might be, I mean, you're in a college town, man. You have every year you have 60,000 new people that need to live here.
You got fresh renters.
You know, you're just going to recycle and recycle and recycle.
Absolutely.
Right? So that's
Absolutely.
one of the big advantages of being in a college town. It's not that different than being in a military town, right? Where it's like you're going to have this fresh slot of people going in that are going to come through.
Correct.
So that's kind of always, it's a great way to hedge, you know? And I guess changing gears a little bit, we've kind of made you guys eat your vegetables. Now let's talk about how fun it is. So one of the things that strikes me, and what we just really beat the drum on as folks that live in Boulder, is how great the outdoors is, right? How beautiful the Flatirons are. You can go on hikes and bikes and walking trails, and that's not and the other. And it's all true, guys. We're not making it up. But I do kind of try to put myself in the mindset of like, you know, maybe that's not everyone's bag, right? No, and you don't want to.
I don't know why it's not, but maybe it is not.
but sitting here at Avanti, right? Like it makes me understand that like you can, you know, be near nature and not be out and so enjoy it and not be out in the middle of it, right? Like maybe you don't like camping, but you like popping the rooftop here, having a drink and soaking in the sunshine, right? Maybe you don't love going on a long bike ride, but you like hanging out at like an overlook, or you like hanging out in a situation where you get to be.
Maybe you're just a sports fan.
Exactly, right?
You know, and if you're a sports fan here in Colorado, I mean, we're so lucky.
We got it all, baby.
I mean, we got the Avs. We got. I mean, the Rockies are struggling a little bit right now, but the Nuggies, you know, the Nuggets are doing great. Denver. I mean, the Broncos. We're one play away, basically.
Oh yeah.
You know, last year from going to the Super Bowl. So
I think we got better this year.
I think we got a little bit better this year. You know, time will tell. You know, we'll see how this video ages.
Yeah, exactly. Right. That's why editing exists, man. Yeah,
we'll watch this a year from now and say, "Ooh, I don't know about that." But you know, the cool thing about this place, like you said, even if you don't like the outdoors, even if you don't like biking, even if you don't like going on trails, guess what? We have a real metropolitan. We have a real downtown. We have all these really cool places for you to do things in, and it doesn't have to be anything outside.
No, and Pro Street's so cool, guys. Like from, you know, moving from like bigger cities, a lot of folks are moving here from Texas, like moving here from Austin, Dallas, San Antonio. 3 of the big 5 relocation sites from the entire country to Colorado are in Texas, right? And then you have Chicago and weirdly Washington and California kind of battling out for that 5th spot.
Right.
But larger cities, right? But I walked down Pearl Street. This could be plopped in the middle of Chicago. This could be plopped in the middle of a larger city. There's
any city USA.
There's buskers.
Any city USA.
There's magicians. I saw a cat throw a card over a building, not 200 yards from where we're sitting right here. There's plenty. It feels like a bigger city, even though it's like really small and dynamic and a very tight knit community.
You know, when you say that, I think about Chicago because as I was walking up, there was a young lady selling vegan pops, you know, popsicle sticks. And, you know, there's push carts everywhere. And, you know, it reminds you of being in Chicago or New York or any of the main cities that you ever go to. And, you know, the fact that they're able to have all of those things, we pull from all those places and bring it all here at Boulder, I think it really is the reason why, you know, this is such a sought-after location. Yeah. I really do believe that.
It's beautiful, man. You can't really argue with it. So I would say give us a call, give us a text, give us an email. You'll be able to see our numbers down below. Would love to connect with you guys. We love making these videos. We love you more connecting online and in person. So
absolutely.
Give us a shout next time you guys are around, and we'll see you guys real soon.
Thanks for having me.